Yo, what's up, guys? This is some signs that you're dealing with a motherfucking energy vampire. These Dracula ass motherfuckers are lingering on Earth and they stealing people's energy, they sucking people dry, leaving you confused, low self esteem, frustrated, and self conscious. Alright, guys, so the first sign is it's all about them, never about you. Okay. If you're noticing in conversations, you're always helping this person, you're always talking about their problems. It always leads back to them. And then when you try to put the conversation back on you, they never reciprocate. They never say anything back. They never try to help you. They never try to put energy back into you. That motherfucker is draining your energy. Number 2, they make plans and cancel on you. I know it may sound a little bit but when you make plans with somebody, your brain subconsciously wires yourself to get prepared for that moment, hence draining energy. So when they cancel consistently, all that energy, all that hope just drains out of you, leaving your mind being subconsciously drained of your hope for yourself and drained of your self-esteem and your healthy ego. If they make plans with you and they always cancel, but whenever they want to do something on a whim, randomly you're available and you're there, they're a fucking energy vampire. They're sucking up all that shit. Like they eating up all that shit. The minute that they cancel on you, they're eating up all that energy, all that it goes in the atmosphere, it transfers to them, it makes them have a form of power, and energy is power. Number 3, they belittle or don't take nothing you talk about towards them seriously. If you're talking to a motherfucker about a life problem or issue, or let's say, for example, you're in a love situation and you want advice, and you notice them not listening, you notice them making slight comments and remarks for no motherfucking reason, not trying to pay attention to what you're saying, but every time it's about their love life, you're in depth with them, you're empathetic, things of that sort, they are an energy vampire. The 4th sign of an energy vampire, and this is the last sign, guys. If you leave someone feeling drained, used, overthinking, confused about your sanity and your fucking reality, they just drained the fuck out of your energy. They did not reassure you of your gifts, your love, your talents. They just sat there and wanted to boast about themselves the whole time. I always say it's not about how you feel when you're with a person, while you're with a person. It's always how you feel of the aftermath of chilling with a person that will tell you if they're drained.
How to deal with someone who drains your energy. Tips from a psychologist. Most of us at some point have experienced this friend, colleague, or even this family member who drains every drop of energy when interacting with them. And in most cases, we can't simply cut ties with them. But here are some tips to make dealing with them a bit easier. Number 1, start by recognizing why they drain your energy. Is it their negativity, their endless drama, or their emotional dependency and constant need for attention and validation? Understanding why they drain you will help you deal with them in a better way. Number 2, call out their draining behavior. This is especially helpful when it's someone close to you, like a friend or family member. Tell them how their behavior is making you feel. Example, I feel drained when I hear negative stories every time we meet. Or, it makes me want to spend less time with you when you act like that. By doing this, you're giving them a chance to adjust this bad habit or behavior. And number 3, set clear boundaries. Example, you don't have to answer this long call from that friend if you're not in the mood for it. Limit the amount of time you interact with them. If they're colleagues, keep it short and focused on work. If they're friends or family, firmly communicate when you need personal space or time alone. Follow me for more social psychology tips.
Beware, ladies, if you're a beautiful woman who is a triple threat, and when I mean triple threat, I mean you are beautiful, you have the brains and the body. Beware. You will encounter the fakest, the most malicious, the most negative energy, because even if people praise you in public, they could be preying on your downfall in private. You have to be very, very careful who you let in. And you do not want to be deceived by people who will outwardly see you, and they're showering you with all this praise, and they want to be around you, and they're constantly just, you think they're constantly pouring into you, but in reality, they're just trying to gain access from you. And through gaining access from you, they're able to then suck the energy that you are admitting from yourself, because now that the doors are open, right, and you let them in, they can now gain the secrets on how you do things. They can also gain your aura and your energy, and you'll start to know when you have people who are around you who are kind of energy vampires, or people who are not really supposed to be in your space, because after encountering them, you feel tired, you feel drained, you feel like where you might have been once creative, you no longer can create. You feel like for some reason you don't love the things that you might have loved before meeting them or being around them. Now all of a sudden life is switching and changing for you, and maybe life is getting worse. Maybe things are just happening to you that have never happened, and you're like, what is going on? Sometimes you have to evaluate the people that you have around you, because they could be speaking negative energy into your life just by their presence, just by them being around you. That could now make for your life to switch in a way that it never did, because you're now essentially gaining the energy that they once had into your life, and they're gaining the energy that you have into theirs. So then all of a sudden your life is falling apart and theirs seems to be elevating. Why is that? Have you thought about it? Well, maybe it's because now that you're sucked dry, now that they've gotten everything that they could from you and they've left you depleted, they have been rebooted, and honestly, I should say rebuke. And maybe that's what God wants me to say. You need to be rebuking them, but they've been rebooted. Their battery is now all of a sudden full because they've sucked the energy and the life out of the source that they needed, which was you. Beware, watch out, be careful.
Here are 3 ways to tell if someone's energy is not good for you. Number 1, whenever you anticipate their presence, or when you get a message from them, oftentimes there's this internal shakiness, shivers, if you will. And this will come up when they want to spend time with you, or when they're about to come over. You feel this internal chill. Something else that might happen is when you're driving with them, all of a sudden you're making dumb moves. All of a sudden you are not a good driver. If you are having a conversation with them and you're trying to talk to them on an intelligible level, you just can't get your words out. Like, for some reason, you feel like you have lost all of your brain power. If you're cooking around them, you might mess up a dish that you've made plenty of times. Third thing to notice is after you've spent time with them, you feel way better. Now, this isn't you feel better because you spent time with them. You feel better because you're no longer spending time with them. You're no longer in their presence anymore. It's like their energy was putting you off, but you couldn't really tell if it was them or if it was you. But as soon as you removed yourself from their vicinity, it went away. Now, some people with very dark energy and heavy energy may stick to you, may still linger after you've left. So you have to physically remove it through some sort of rituals, dry brushing, having a shower, smudging yourself and your whole physical space.
Ask yourself, who are the 3 people that degrade my joy? And who are the 3 people that elevate my joy. One of the reasons our lives get messy is when we let toxic people into our lives. And having the courage to release those 3 energy vampires and dream stealers in your life changes your life. Now, people always say, but what if it's my mother? Yeah. What if it's my best friend? And I would say reason, season, lifetime. Some people come into your life for a reason, some for a season, some for a lifetime. And maybe if your friend isn't growing with you, even though they've been your best friend for 10 years, love them from afar. You have one life. And if someone is really destroying you and they're toxic, and it happens in a lot of intimate relationships, then do that person a favor and do yourself a favor and get out of that relationship.
You ever notice how you cut certain people out of your life and things just begin to significantly improve for you? That's usually the number one indicator that you were dealing with an energy vampire. When you release that energy, all of a sudden, your skin starts glowing, your hair starts growing, opportunities start coming to you, you start making money, your health improves, you lose weight. Overall, you just feel so much lighter. Life just feels better. And that usually happens because their energy was literally sucking you dry. I've said this before in previous videos, but you have to pay very close attention to how your body responds to people. A lot of times we could be so blindsided because, it's people that we love. It's our family, it's our friends, it's our partners. But if their energy is not good for you, you will have a very hard time trying to flourish. So just pay attention. Pay attention because you'll notice it. You'll notice how much life improves for you and everything improves for you the minute that you let that person go. And if you are ever unsure, just pray for it to be revealed, because I promise you, it will be revealed. And once you say that prayer, do not be surprised when everybody in your life starts dropping like flies, because it will happen.
10 signs you're friends with an energy vampire. Energy vampires are people who drain you of your emotional energy. Every time you hang out with them, you leave feeling drained and exhausted and maybe even annoyed. Here are all the signs for them. 1. They're always involved in some sort of drama. 2. They constantly one-up you. 3. You feel anxious or nervous when you're with them. 4. They downplay your problems and exaggerate their own. 5. They never take responsibility for their mistakes. 6. They take advantage of your niceness. 7. They guilt trip you all the time. 8. They are always criticizing and judging. 9. They're codependent. 10. You avoid their phone calls and hanging out with them.
The way that energy vampires work is that they want to create a strong emotional reaction within you. This typically means triggering a core wound. When you respond to the trigger, it creates an energetic food source. This is why their goal is to amplify deep feelings of shame, fear, or inadequacy. So this is how you're going to spot an energy vampire. Recognize how you feel during and after interacting with someone. If you find yourself feeling insecure, unattractive, self-conscious, self-critical, chances are you're dealing with someone that lower vibrational entities are working through and cording into your energetic system. Once these energy cords are established, they can continue to steal or exchange energy with you that essentially is the food source, this energetic food source that we're talking about. Now here's the hack for no longer creating or attracting these types of energetic bonds with people. And it's very simple. Intentionally use your emotional triggers as teachers by choosing and deciding to learn from them. You do this by consciously becoming aware of unhealed wounds, working on them, thus shifting into a higher vibrational state of being that will no longer attract these types of energetic reflections. You will repel energy vampires from your field.
5 signs you might be dealing with an energy vampire. But what's an energy vampire? An energy vampire is a toxic person who drains you of your emotional energy. And here's how you can spot one. Number 5, they don't take any accountability. This is the person who always blames everyone else for their problem. Nothing is ever their fault, and they always have an excuse for something. Number 4, they're always involved in drama. They love to gossip and tell you about their drama in hopes that you will fix it. Number 3, they always one-up you. It doesn't matter how good your news is. They won't celebrate your success. Instead, they'll try to shift the focus back onto them. 2, they diminish your problems and highlight their own. This one is draining. You can never go to an energy vampire to talk about your feelings or something you're going through, because chances are they're going through something worse. Number 1, they guilt trip you, criticize you, and make passive-aggressive remarks. This is pretty self-explanatory. Follow and like for more.
Energy vampires are people who sometimes intentionally drain your emotional energy. But you know what's always good is to learn the signs and what to do about it if you encounter energy vampires. But first, hi, my name is Dr. Vanessa Milagros, and I'm a licensed mental health professional here in the state of Florida. Let's get into it. They don't take accountability. They're usually involved in some kind of drama. They tend to one-up you, or they diminish your problems and play up one of their own. They place their problems right onto you. They tend to latch to sensitive and compassionate individuals. They use guilt trips or ultimatums. Is anybody catching on to the drift here? Codependent. They criticize or bully you. Can even use intimidation. Whew. All right, well, let's talk about what you can do. One is to establish boundaries. When you accept invitations to different things or to help them in certain ways, instead of saying, I cannot do this, and sticking to it no matter how the guilt comes up, to have the option of allowing them to suck all of the energy and life out of you once again. But we're trying to do better, right? Okay. Second is to adjust your expectations. You cannot fix them. Have you not been trying to do that all this time? Has it worked? Adjust your expectations. Do not give them an inch. You already know when you give them an inch, they will take the mile. Don't even give them the inch. Guard your emotional capacity. But of course, the first step is to always recognize that you are surrounding yourself with emotional vampires. What do you need to adjust? Where do you need to change so that you do not continue to be in that cycle of, I'm allowing you back in my life again and again and again. It's not fair to me anymore, right? It's not fair to you anymore, right? When's enough going to be enough?
How to spot an energy vampire and quickly how to deal with it. Because sometimes friends are really trying to come after you. So my go-to thing when I'm seeing somebody that's an energy vampire, it's directly of how my energy feels before and after meeting them. Do you feel like you're diminishing your light? Do you feel a little bit anxious before or after? Really, it's the before meeting up with this person. Is your anxiety? Are you feeling grounded? Are you anxious to meet them? A lot of these times people like this will diminish your issues, but then like all of their issues are 8 on 100. You might find yourself dimming your shine around them because they act weird when you're shining brighter than them, or make the situation so they're always the center of it. These kind of people most of the time always one-up you in a situation, whether it's around other people or literally just with you. Overall lacking empathy, or it's fake empathy that you normally can tell isn't really real. Overall, we want to cut these people from your lives to stop it. Obviously, magically, you can protect and shield your aura. You can do a cord cutting, ask that your ancestors shield their aura and energy from yours, and call it back clean.
People who drain your energy are often what we refer to as energy vampires, and they can be emotionally or mentally exhausting to be around, leaving you feeling depleted, stressed, and overwhelmed. And here are some common traits of energy vampires. The first thing is that they're constantly negative, always focusing on problems rather than solutions. The second trait is that they always seek drama. They always create unnecessary drama or conflicts, and it just puts you in situations that just drains your energy. The third trait is that they lack empathy. They don't care about anyone except themselves, and they show little understanding or concern for your emotions, often expecting you to cater to theirs without reciprocation. And last but not least, the victim mentality. Always labeling themselves as the victim, expecting others to always fix their problems without taking responsibility or accountability. So it's always important to set up boundaries with these types of people to protect your mental and emotional well-being. But the best option is to keep your distance from them.
So here is a really great way for you to take your energy back, especially for those of you who are energetically sensitive to any shift whatsoever that may happen. If you find yourself out in a public situation, or maybe just in a one-on-one situation with somebody who you know is an energy vampire, this is what you need to do. And the great thing about it is that when you get really good at it, you can do it like in your mind automatically, and boom, your energy is going to come back to you. So use it as much as you need to. This is what I want you to say. I take back my energy from all people, places, things, and entities, from all timelines, dimensions, realities, sub-realities, and frequency bands, and I take it back now. Now notice how I really emphasize that last part. You need to be adamant about what it is that you're doing. That is really important. You're not just going to say this and expect that it's going to come back to you. Again, intention, intention, intention is absolutely everything in what we do. And when you say now, very forceful, not only are you putting that intention out there, what I want you to do is intend to feel your energy snapping back to you, much like what happens when you release the tension on an elastic band. Bam, coming back to you. Feel that recoil. The more visual you can be about it, the more intention you can put behind it, the better it is going to work. And I feel it instantaneously. I do this anywhere and everywhere. The minute I feel, and I know what that feels like. I know when someone's talking about me. I know when my energy has been sapped away from me. I instantaneously can say this and take it back. Do this, because if you don't, over time, again, you're going to feel all the effects of what it feels like to carry illness or sickness, or worse, further on down the road, even disease. This is incredibly important. Anyways, I hope you'll use it as much as you want. Much love and light to everybody.
You are naive because you don't believe that people can be inherently bad. You still think that people need a justifiable reason to do harmful or painful things to you. But once you've seen enough, once you've seen that people's lives come to an end, not by strangers, but by the people they trust most, you'll realize that you have very little reason to trust anyone. Once you realize that, you'll get to a point where people can earn trust with you, but you don't just give trust to everyone freely, because everyone doesn't deserve it. As children, we're taught not to trust strangers, don't go with strangers, but when we become adults, that concept is kind of just thrown out the window. We hang out with any and everyone. We bring strangers into our homes. We give strangers rides. I'm not saying that you should never do any of those things, but especially as a woman, you have to be extremely cautious doing any of this, because naturally we are physically weaker than men. If you are neurodivergent, other women assume that mentally you are weaker than them because your brain is processing things differently. So either way, you have to get to a point where you let people earn friendship with you. You let them earn respect, intimacy, and trust with you. But there's absolutely no reason to just open yourself up to any and everyone.